Well, Kara touched on this a little bit, and I think we've been kind of talking around it. But Emma, something I've heard you do over and over again on your channel is just highlight the way that, like, a little pinch of wisdom and good advice can get mixed in with the misogyny. What are some of your favorite, like, true but not really true talking points that come up when we talk about this?
Well, again, originating back to kind of pickup artistry and dating advice, it's always kind of hinged on mixing a lot of basically common sense in with, ridiculous sort of theories and things. Um, I mean, a lot of the best and most effective, kind of teachings, I guess I wanna say, will talk about things like work on yourself first and, be comfortable with yourself, which is basically obvious. Um, and it can be useful for people to hear. There's things that are like, I've heard like weirdly specific things are usually my favorite. So one of my favorite ones from I think it's the book is called How to Be an Alpha Male. Um, and it was all in this big list of, uh go to the gym, uh, get a hobby, all of these kind of things was like, take your woman on holiday because then not only will you broaden your horizons, but you'll broaden her horizons. And it's like, yeah, I guess that is
Uh,
basically obvious. Um,
not bad advice, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, there's always like that sprinkling of something that makes basic common sense, and it's sort of like half of those, especially in those kind of pickup books, it's just about, sort of self-confidence. It's the kind of thing you would find in a, like, The Secret or something like that, just sort of general life-affirming, books about personal confidence, which is can be really useful, but unfortunately in the alpha male red pill sphere, it is just all deeply intertwined and mixed with misogyny. So it takes a lot of work to kind of unwrap that and pull out the okay, well, yes, do focus on yourself, but don't focus on yourself because, women aren't interesting. It's that kind of thing.
Or
It's
because
like,
it'll, emphasize your testosterone levels or.
yeah, yeah, exactly. You have to kind of pull those parts out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's so many little ideas like that. I mean, I didn't mean to just pull up the testosterone one, but yes, it is true that if you have not been exercising or eating well, that by getting your body back in line, that you are going to have more balanced hormone levels. And in a lot of
Mhm.
men, that may mean increases in testosterone. That's not the same thing as, but it may also lead to increases in libido, in confidence, in like decreased anxiety, and a lot of these things. So, exercising is good advice. Exercising because it'll make you a manly man alpha male is ridiculous.
Yeah, I was looking at some, soy conspiracy things,
Oh,
the whole
yes.
soy milk is making men effeminate, that's
Turning
why
all the
men aren't
frogs
men
gay.
anymore.
Yeah.
It's turning all the frogs gay, and it's turning the men into women. And it was sort of all this advice was phrased around, and there was sort of sexism dripped in, but it was phrased around this weird pseudoscience, and it was one kinda like Cara was talking about earlier, where once you actually read the sources, if you actually look at them, all of the sources they use kinda debunk their own points if you actually read them properly. Um, but the end sort of result advice that this particular guy came to, I can't remember his name, some dude in his car talking about soy, I can't remember. But it was basically like cut out junk food and processed food and eat healthier stuff, get more protein. And it was like, well, of course, that's going to help people. That's genuinely good advice, and you will feel better if you stop eating all the things he said to stop eating, like crisps and cookies and stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah, of course. The risk you run there, because we can sort of leave it alone and say it's basically good advice. The risk you run is then people having success with that, but then therefore attributing that to the conspiracy and thinking it's
Mm-hmm.
about, say, in that case, soy rather than about just eating healthier.
And
It's the
become like
same
an
thing with kind of
acolyte and a
dating advice.
model for that kind of thinking.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I gave up soy and now look how healthy I am. because I, also quit eating
Exactly.
junk food and started exercising, but it must have been the soy. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Well, and can we also just talk for a minute about this concept of the alpha male and how that also is pulled straight from the pages of pseudoscience? Like, what do people mean by this term alpha male? And then I really want us to pick that apart, rip it apart like a pack of wolves, if you will.
Yeah, so, you're clearly as aware as I am that, alpha male was sort of this misunderstanding that came out of this, I've talked about him so many times, I've forgotten the gentleman's name now, but, it was
Is it David
basically,
Mech,
it was
I think?
I can't remember,
He's
um,
done some work on it after the fact with, like, zoo animals, but it's like that there was a book in the 40s, that all this got based on.
Yeah, David Mech in 1970 is what a very
thank you.
quick Google is showing me, if that checks out with y'all.
Yeah, that
Yes,
sounds
yeah,
right.
and
I
like you
I think
said, he's
the general he was looking at wolves in captivity rather than in the wild was
Mhm.
sort of the main, but yeah, the term is misappropriated from wolves having, an alpha male in the pack, which it turns out is not true, but even so, people aren't wolves, so it wouldn't really have mattered
Science checks out,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
anyway.
turns out not the same. Well, and what I love about it too is that when you look at wolves in the wild, it's there's a male and a female that tend to be in charge of the pack, and they're monogamous for life. So, and it's the rest of the pack is
Yeah,
their pups. So, yes, they're in charge of them, but also how this translates into pickup culture and you're gonna get all these dates if you become an alpha male is a mystery to me because that's not even what the wolves do. This is so
it's so
incorrectly
funny
based
to
on.
me. You I feel like you could just sort of pick whatever species you because there's some species where the female is more aggressive,
Mhm.
some species where they, change their sex, to, procreate, and I'm like, I think that if I was gonna make up some sort of faux, pill theology of my own, I would start with the, I think it's anglerfish who,
Yes.
the
Hugely
male kind of
sexually dimorphic.
yeah, the really small males attached to the really big females, and kind of eventually all that's left is this sort of pair of fish testicles. I think that's where mine would start.
See, it's science. Men
It's
are
science.
just this parasite on society. Really, all they're good for is testicles. Mm.
Can you imagine if we were subscribing to the praying mantis view of dating? A third of the time you just literally bite
Yeah.
someone's head off. It's natural. It makes it
Yeah.
okay.